Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and welcome to Invasions Week 1, Day 7, though I should probably stop calling them that, because by the time we even reach Day 7, we're pretty much already done with it. Should I start naming them something else? Because with Guild Wars it kind of makes sense, but I don't know, it always feels weird doing it for these days, because every Saturday and Sunday basically, or at least at this current moment in time, we barely even play, if at all, whatever the actual thing is, because by this time in the week we've already, as you can see, we have our 8 remaining right there, but even with that we've done everything already, so yeah. We don't really need to go any further, and that keeps happening over and over again. Really wish they would add some kind of incentive system to using these last little battles so that we can actually do them throughout the week. I do not know if 3.35 is bringing anything like that, but I sure hope it does, because yeah, there's no point in using these final battles. There's no way we're going to get on the leaderboard without actually buying a lot of those packs, and there's no additional rewards that we can get. So we basically just playing them for no purpose whatsoever. And with that being said, we're just going to be doing the other normal content. So if you guys want me to go over anything, just let me know. Actually, with that being said, what that does allow us to do is go over the 2 new troops that are coming in on Monday. So let me go do that immediately. Actually, I was going to wait, but I keep forgetting. Since we're not doing the thing, I might as well go over it immediately. So yeah, hello everyone, hello Daniel, hello Sean, hello Lametto Gamer, hello Derek, hello Captain, hello Jonas, hello Bratkins, and hello Sea Dog. Welcome all, welcome, and hello Painting. Invasions and raid weeks are kind of boring, to be honest. Oh no, I still like them. They're a little bit repetitive though over the course of the week. I feel like the first few days, like, they would be great, I feel like, if they were more like what raids, I mean not raids, if they were more like what the Bounty Hunter event is, which we still don't know exactly what it is yet, and the Treasure Gnome event, if they ran only from Friday to Sunday, and like it was only those 3 days, and you played it like each one of those days or something like that, I would probably like it a lot more. I feel like, yeah, throughout the week, it kind of, like the first few days of it is where it's really interesting, and everything beyond that, it's like, oh, okay, this is just like an endless little grind thing. So yeah, it's, yeah, the first few days, it's nice. Everything beyond that, not so much. So if they would have only done it for those 3 days, that would have been pretty nice. Similar to Bounty Hunter and Treasure Gnomes, but they didn't do it that way. It's basically just replacing out Guild Wars. With that being said, tomorrow we'll start the next Guild Wars, finally, of this version. Well, kind of we already had of the previous version, but you know, since they started doing the shifting, we only get it once every 3 weeks, and again, tomorrow, next week starts it. Do keep in mind, unlike Invasion and Raids, if any of you have started recently, if someone enters your guild mid-Guild Wars, they will not be able to participate. If they are not in your guild by the end of Monday, they will not be able to. Also, just in case you haven't yet, I believe, make sure this button here, if there's a button here that says register, make sure to click this. You may not be registered for the next Guild War, so do double check, because if you're not registered in 6 hours and 51 minutes, your guild will not be able to participate in the Guild Wars. And since it's not been here for a while, do double check if there's a register button. You get there by going under Guild, go under Guild Wars, click under Register, and there should be a button right here if you are not registered, or to say you are registered for the next Guild War. Make sure it says that. If not, click the button, because some people might forget, given that it hasn't happened for like 3 weeks. And there might be like a weird glitch where it doesn't do it. So if just double check that if any of you are in a guild that's actually participating in Guild Wars. Though I suggest all guilds to kind of participate in it, because you just get free resources. Even if you don't play it at all, you literally just get free resources just for being in a guild that's doing it, even if you don't contribute a single battle to it, which is kind of funny. Anyways, speaking of Guild Wars, we use one more member. Oh, do we still need one more at the moment? Oh no. Oh, do we? Oh, have we not replaced out the other person that's leaving on Monday? That might be the case. Okay. Who actually was that? I forgot from earlier. Well, I can go check back later. But yeah, we do still have one spot open then, if anyone is interested, because someone's leaving on Monday. If you're interested in it, just message me on the forum. Requirements are 1 million gold, or even just put it on our thread on the forum too, or just messaging me, either or. But yeah, the requirements are 1 million gold, 300 trophies, and basically just participating and being able to do well in Guild Wars, raids, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, guys, let me go over the new stuff. Since we're not going to be doing the battles, might as well do that immediately. Let me just go get the tab for it. They made nice little graphics for it too now. They've been doing this for the last several weeks, and it seems like how they're going to be doing it for into the future. So, pretty cool. Let me go get those up. Show off their nice little graphics. Makes it a lot easier to display them, too. Though I should just get the actual images instead of the website. Oh, well. Let me see. Where's the window for it? That is not the right window. That is also not the right window. Eventually I will get the right window. There it is. Found it. And that should bring it up if I click that. And there it is. Okay, let me click this, make sure it's large enough. And there it is. Sweet. Okay. So let's go over this guy. Actually, we'll just leave it at that view. That brings the entire image there. So perfect. Okay. We just move that down and should be good. So this guy. What do we have here? This one is a interesting tank for sure. Basically what he's going to be doing is bringing one of your allies all the way to frontline, which is the first troop that can actually move basically your own team. There are some things that kind of move your own team, I guess. Like that one blue weapon off the, I forget what it's called, but off the Knight class, there's a blue weapon that moves your hero up to frontline. But this could be quite a bit more useful than that. It cleanses barriers and ally and then gives them a bunch of life, and then moves that person that you just targeted to your first slot. So you could use this to alternate tanks if you're using a double tank team. You could use this to just beef up a character since it's giving it cleanse, barrier, and life. You could use this on something that has a life boost ratio, like for example Phoenix, and reposition it that way so you can use it more as a tank. And like maybe even alternate between Phoenixes or something. You could use it on Ketris the Bull and kind of bring him up, get a nice hit, and then move something else to protect him. And yeah, there's just a lot of really weird things you can do. He also ends up getting a Light Storm. He's the first thing with Bright Death. Whenever you kill an enemy, he will create a Yellow Storm, and that Yellow Storm will, of course, increase the chances of Yellow falling down. Going to be pretty good with Yarrow Fire Mantle, as well as with Gorgolfa. Pretty sure this could even be used in a pure Yellow team on Guild War days, and it will help keep your team alive and alternate tanks to make sure that nothing actually dies, and may allow you to go no summons on a Yellow day and still survive. So a lot of really niche purposes. I don't feel like I'll be using him that much though. He seems like something you'd throw more into like specialty teams, like for example Guild War teams, as well as it's not something you would throw in PvP is basically what I'm getting around to. It's something fun to mess around with, but his only real purpose is probably going to be in Guild Wars, I feel like. So that's going to be him. The other one is a new legend. He's going to be available through Glory, from what I can tell. And you'll just be able to get him for 400 Glory. Actually says it right there. Never mind, I don't even need to speculate. It says it for us right there. He'll be available for 400 Glory. He will also be available in event keys if you want to try getting him that way. Next week will be a good week to throw down event keys as well, because we got a really, really nice legend. This will only be available through event keys, but it is basically going to single-handedly make giants very viable. Well, that combined with the Titan hero class. But it deals damage to an enemy, half of that to adjacent enemies, and then freezes all of them. I assume that means the 3 that it hits, though that could mean the entire team, but I assume it's the 3 that it actually hits. This only hits the actual adjacent, so if you have, for example, if you target 3rd slot, and they only have 1st, 3rd, and 4th alive, it will not freeze everything, I don't believe, because there's a gap between the 1st and the 3rd slot. But let's say they have a full team, you throw it on 3rd slot, and all of them are alive, then you'll freeze the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th slot, is what I gather from that. I don't believe it freezes the entire team, just the 3 that she specifically hits. And if there's a hole between it, when there's 3 left, it will not hit all 3. It'll just hit the 2 that are specifically adjacent to each other. But then it freezes them, as I mentioned. Freeze is very powerful. It's kind of like a really good damage source. Borealis is basically what this is, just with 1 less freeze. They're almost the same mana cost too. And then summons a random giant, which on top of its own ability, even before that, was already amazing. But also gets a giant summon. It reminds me a lot of King Highforge from the Dwarves. It's a very similar concept to that, is basically what she is. So I believe she's the first female giant in the game. Not sure why I haven't added any prior, but it is the first. Kind of like Apothecary was the first for the Dwarves. As far as traits, Insulated, very nice. Gets that freeze protection. It gains life every single turn with the Huge. That's also combined very well with its final trait, which is all giants gain 2 life and magic every single extra turn. It was 3 earlier, but they obviously toned that down. Even 2 is pretty big amount. That means she will be gaining 4 life every single extra turn you do, as well as every giant on your team will be gaining 2 life and 2 magic, and of course she gains that benefit too, getting a total of 4 life and 2 magic for herself every extra turn you get. So it's going to be really good with spams. You can use it with Valkyrie because it's green-blue, and yeah, it's going to be really, really nice. I don't believe you'll synergize it with Yarrow, but you will synergize it with Titan Hero class with 2 other giants, most likely. It could also be pretty decent to get 2 of her, just because you'll be getting 4 life and 4 magic onto all giants per turn. I almost want to do 3 just to see what happens, to be honest. 3 of her with a Titan Hero class, and yeah, we'll be trying to probably get a lot of her. I might not Mythic her, I'm not sure if I'm going to be going that hard into them. Do keep in mind, if you do open up event keys, there are quite a few nice drops in there. Let me actually go over all the things that are dropping off the event keys, aside from these 2 new troops, which are both going to be in the drop pool. Let me go over the few other ones that are also going to be available. 1 second, let me go bring that up, move that back. And where's the thingy? Go under troops, go under here, go under Stormheim, and let's see if I can remember which one of these are actually in the drop pool. It's all the ones that are ultra rare and above. So it's Berserker, Dwarven Slayer, Fire Giant, Ice Witch, Yarrow Fire Mantle, Jotnar Storm Shield, Keghammer, and Zephyrus, and the 2 new ones. All of those drops will be in the event key drop pool next week. The main noteworthy ones of those are the 2 new ones, particularly the legendary new one, Yarrow Fire Mantle, which is normally used as a cheaper version of Burn if you don't have Infernus. It's a lot cheaper to get than Infernus. It also has a okay ability. I personally don't use it too much, but it can infinitely spam. Really good early on in the game with goblins or with some of the better things like Yalmeo and stuff like that. That one green-red from the most recent kingdom. And Jotnar is a mythic available from this kingdom too. He will be available in the event key drop pool at a ridiculously low rate. Don't go out of your way to try to get him unless you're already wanting to get a mythic of the new copy of the new troop coming out. But yeah, he is available. He's mainly would be used if you don't have Dawnbringer yet. You could use him on red days particularly, or on any Guild War day, as a alternative barrier source, because he's the same color as that weapon, and he also just barriers, and with enough extra turn, he can just barrier your entire team. He also has the highest single target true damage in the game, though this isn't particularly noteworthy, simply because there's better single targets in this game, like Ferris Ra and such, though on some Guild War days it could be useful. But yep, that's basically oh, oops, did I have the thing up the entire time? Oh, no, I didn't, okay. For a second, I thought I was blocking the screen with the previous thing, but it was because I still had it up and I didn't click back on chats. Fail. I have done that before. Like, I'll go on like a minute tangent and I'll have like something still up on the screen, and then I was like showing a bunch of stuff on screen and then none of you could see it, and then I didn't notice until after the fact. Luckily, that was not the case that time. Anyways, that's pretty much everything coming in tomorrow. Quite a bit of nice things. I definitely want to get a lot of copies of her. Not sure if I'm mythicking her. Probably not. Depends how lucky we get on the event keys. If we get like 3 of her on the first 50, then yeah, I'm probably going to go a little bit deeper into it. But if we open every single one of our current event keys and we only get like 3 total out of all of those, I think we have like 200 right now, then no, I'm not opening anymore. Yeah, if we open all these and we only get like 1, 2, or 3, well, I do want to get at least 2 of her, but if we only get like 3 from opening all this, I'm not going any further with it, most likely, because I need to make sure I have 7 copies of her if I go for Mythic, because I need to have 2 spares, and that would be way too many resources if we don't get lucky. So I'll probably just be throwing that 153. Actually, we'll have about 200, because we'll get a bunch on Monday, too. I should probably tell my guild to go all in on event keys as well, because we will be needing those. But, yeah, that's going to be the event for next week. Actually, quite a nice one compared to this week, which was horrible. We did this, right? Yeah, we did this. It's just looking all weird. I really hope they fix that 0 glitch thing. It's been reported to them. They are aware of it. Though the question of them actually fixing it is is the thing, though. Just because they know about it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be fixed next patch, though normally they do get around to fixing those kind of things. Eventually. Yeah, hopefully that is one of the things they get around to. Anyways, we'll just be messing around with this and our other team that we've been also trying out now. We've already used it. We've already had it saved, except I wasn't using it with double Queen Titania. I ended up bringing back the... Someone actually suggested it, and I don't know why I didn't actually use that as a solid team in the in the past. But Alchemist, Moneylender, double Queen Titania. It's the exact same thing as what used to be the Queen Mab version of her, which was Soothsayer, Valkyrie, double Queen Mab, back when that was a thing. Actually, particularly in the order of Soothsayer, Queen Mab, Valkyrie, Queen Mab. That at one point was the strongest team in the game, and then it got nerfed. But Queen Titania basically has that version of it already existing, so we could just be using that instead, which is kind of cool. Brings back the good old days from like a year and a half ago when Queen Mab was ridiculously overpowered. Actually, she still is, but it was a lot of fun using her with Soothsayer. I liked it because I do love using Soothsayer as a troop. It's just, with 4 times speed these days, it's not really that viable to actually use him because it's way too slow. So you basically never really see me using it. It just takes too much time to figure out where to use him, but he is a fun troop to use, and I definitely enjoy it a lot. But yeah, it was this team, even though I have the wrong name for it at the moment, but the Alchemist, Moneylender, Queen Titania with the new banner of +2 yellow, +1 red, -1 yellow. Also, hello Aaron, hello RapPF, hello, I have no clue how to say that. Hello Pix, hello, hello Roth, hello Nando, hello Traley, hello Lexia, hello Alanso, hello Cherry Top. And hello, Marcelo. Welcome all. Welcome, welcome. I know, we're still level 1, 2, 3, 4. I made mention of that earlier. We're about to break it probably by the end of the stream or tomorrow, though. It's not going to last that much longer. But it is kind of funny what our level is right now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll go and... Also, we got really lucky on the drop. For any of you that didn't see last night's stream, we did end up getting the best possible drop off that major orb. We ended up getting the blue arcane, or not the blue arcane, well, technically it's a blue arcane. It's that one orb that fully ascends any troop that you use it on. We ended up getting that off of our major orb drop yesterday, so that's the best possible drop you can get off of it. So was very happy with that. Not sure what I'll be using it on, but I'm pretty sure there'll be content in the future where I would want to use it. Using it on one of the specialty commons would be the best value you can get out of it, though they haven't added any specialty commons for a while. Well, actually they have. It's, specialty commons are things like, for example, that like new dwarf that got added and that new little bird, but they aren't really that good, so I don't want to use it on them. A good version of a specialty common would be something like humility, justice, honor, stuff like that, where they're just ridiculously good commons. The ones you can normally tell that are better, they have a higher trait stone cost than normal troops do. Like humility costs like, what is it, 22 pure yellows or something? But yeah, their trait stone costs are a lot higher, and getting these like instantly to Mythic is very, very nice, especially if you could do it to all of them. Because one interesting mechanic that these keys over here have, which I don't normally explain that much because I barely even touch these keys these days, but seal keys essentially act as gem keys if your guild does 40,000 every single week, and if you have every single guild guardian in the game up to Mythic 4 copies. So if you were to get 6 of those blue orbs, and go fully ascend every single one of these as a somewhat newer player, you would automatically be bringing these keys to a lot better value. Because until you get these to 4 copies of Mythic, all 6 of them, you will keep getting them as drops, even if only one of them is not Mythic yet. So really good to go and ascend them if you can actually get all of them ascended, and then you start getting these keys to be a lot better value. Because if I open these right now, this is 200 gem keys right there, is what that will do. And we have about 4,300 of them approximately. I'm not going to count out the exact value at the moment, but it's about 4,300 keys right there. So if we didn't have it fully maxed, that would only be half that many. So it'd be 2,150 gem keys. So it's definitely pretty nice to kind of rush that. I think that's their greatest value they have at the moment, those Orbs of Ascension. Or of course, you could always use them into Power Orbs too, but then you don't get to use them on troops, unfortunately. Garnock, is he any good? Any teams with him? I would not really bother with him. All Orcs and just Orcs in general aren't too good of a combo. So yeah, I wouldn't really bother for the most part. I guess you could kind of... No, never mind. There's not a hero class. I was going to say use it with a hero class. There isn't actually one. So yeah, there really isn't that much you can use. There's no good, like, KO orcs is the problem. And most of them that are single target. Actually, almost every orc is single target, either with skulls or something else. Like, if we go under orcs. Let me actually go to orcs specifically. There's almost nothing that's viable under them. Let's see. Bugbear isn't horrible, but he's not really something you would go and seek to put in your team. Cyclops is the main damage source in this kingdom. It can easily one-shot anything it touches if you get attack buffs on it. Though the biggest issue with Garnock these days is he doesn't have attack buff anymore. He used to, but now he doesn't. Dark Song was buff nerfed, and she's currently in a state of buff nerfed into the nerf state, so she's useless. Drake Rider is mainly just used to troll people, or in some instances of all Dragon Team. He does not really work particularly well in all Orcs. Feldras is super situational and mainly only used as a budget Guild War troop. This Gargantor is considered one of the worst mythics, if not the worst mythic in the entire game. The only redeeming quality is he has Impervious, and that's about it. He's really, really bad. Garnock is a really decent troop, but there's not good enough orcs to really support him being used. Also, him being in the last slot isn't normally something you would bother doing. He's not really much of a last slot troop. But you can put him there if you want to. He gains almost no benefit from it, though, unless you're like a really newer player that doesn't have 20 magic yet on him. But it's pretty easy to get over 20. We would be at 29 right now, or 32. He only needs 20 total. And the main quality of him, of course, is his summon, his gem spawn that he does, a really huge one when there's a full team of orcs, and he summons a random orc. But he doesn't really do much damage, and the buff that he does doesn't really do much. He does 1 true damage to your entire team. This is actually useful because it procs whatever their actual trait thing is. So, for example, if they have a trait like this over here, the armor thing, where it gains 5 armor whenever he takes damage, well, this only triggers when he takes HP damage, but because this is true damage, all the orcs and everything else, like let's say if you had a humility on the team, would end up triggering that when he does that. So, there are some uses for that, but it's more often than not, it's not really too helpful. If you did that multiple times, like deal 1 true damage to your team 3 times, that would be amazing. Especially if they ever made a trip like that. But no. Unless more better orcs get added in the game, it's the only time he's really going to get used. Ogren's mainly only used with pure red teams, doesn't really get used with ogres. Orc is essentially useless unless you're a really early game player. Orc veteran, I believe, still has that glitch where he doesn't actually... there's something glitch with him. Let's see, deal damage to an enemy if the attack is greater. Yeah, his red gem spawn... sometimes doesn't like to trigger for whatever reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know if they fixed it since then, but I know he was a little bugged when he first came out. I'm not sure if he's still like that. He's okay of a troop. He creates quite a bit of reds if you can actually get those kills, but yeah, I haven't tested him for a while, so I don't know if he's still glitched. Regardless, he's still pretty weak, especially since he's random. You don't want to have random factors, and that can be quite a bit of a liability. Solzar's pretty decent from this kingdom. Main thing with this, though, is really hard to use, mainly because you have to only use it against teams that have higher HP than you. This would mainly be things like orc teams, giant teams, and orc teams, giant teams, and like divine teams. Those are about the only few where you'd really kind of throw this in. Might be a few other niche instances, but there aren't really too many things Solzar is particularly used against. You could deliberately keep her a lower level, but I didn't go for that, so I didn't. And Summoner did get buffed recently, though still overall not really worth it. It's a small HP buff and it summons a Bone Daemon. It does have Jinx, which is nice, but it's more of just an early game summon for when you don't really have any other option. But yeah, this kingdom, this troop has a lot of potential. We just need better orcs in the game before it can be good. Similar to the Titan hero class, I actually advise highly, if you haven't already, to go and seek out the trait stones for a fully traded Titan. You can see I'm even using it right now. Fully traded Titan is going to be particularly useful next week and into the future. Not only is it going to be used a lot in invasions and raids, it's also going to become quite popular with the new legend coming out tomorrow off of event keys, since giants are basically going to become very viable. And one really nice thing about this class, other than the fact that it gets HP attack, which is pretty nice, counts as a giant. But other than all that, it also has a 50% to all mana to all giants. So this is one of the few instances, or actually, yeah, it's one of only 2 instances where the 50% all to a certain type is on the hero. The other instance is mechs. You need to use the mech fully traded hero class in order to give the 50% start. But as you can see here, it's also on giants as well, and that is very, very viable. When you can use it with Yerol, when you can use it with Jotnar, when you can use it with things like that new troop that's coming out, going to be very helpful in getting that quick start. You can use it with a good mana gaining weapon as well, and just go and rush up mana, get that explosion or whatever you're using for mana generation off your hero, and just go crazy with that. So yeah, we'll see exactly how that pans out tomorrow. Going to be very viable with the new legends. Highly advise getting the new legends, particularly 2 of them, because I believe 2 of her will be viable in teams. And yeah, we'll just see what happens with her tomorrow. Definitely going to be messing around with giants a lot next week, as they're going to become much better than what they currently are. Right now, giants, you only really use the giant hero class right now for some instances in invasion and raids, as well as in, oh, what was the other thing? For any of the trolls, because all the trolls count as giants too. The most common use of it is a Dawnbringer, using Dawnbringer and using the Forest Troll, because you can use something like a Forest Troll, I can't remember the team, why can I not? Oh, Forest Troll, Nyx, Dawnbringer using Titan hero class, and then Kraken, and your Dawnbringer plus your Forest Troll, would end up starting with that half mana, which ends up working out very well. Oh, sorry, did I not read your thingy? Actually, let me go back and chat a little bit. Get 2 copies of Legendary and use Minor or Ascension. I don't think I would use it for that purpose. That seems a bit of a waste, because we're going to get enough copies of her eventually. And I'm doing those orbs more for long term. Even though I have it, I don't intend to use it for at least another 6 months or so. I'm not really using any orbs for a very long time. Because I'm still coming onto the verdict too on, am I going to be trying for power orbs, or am I going to be actually using them? And if I am going to be using them, I'm going to be using them to 10-star all kingdoms. I'm not going to be using them for any current content, because by the time 10-star kingdoms come around, any current content that's being released in the next several months, we're already going to have maxed by time 10 stars even going to get around. So I don't want to waste it on something that we're just going to be able to do later anyways. But yeah, it wouldn't be horrible to use it on her. It just, I have other plans for those orbs. And both the other two plans I have would not include maxing her with those orbs. But it definitely would be decent value with the smaller one. Use the little smaller one just to ascend her. Okay. Well, we'll go and throw that down on blues. It would save us a lot of gems, though, if we were going to actually go and max her all the way. Oh, no, we'll have to see. Because it is the smaller one. And it is decent value. We'll see. Maybe. It depends. I don't know how much more of a benefit we'd really get from her, though. I'll need to look on the thing and see how much more damage she gets. If it's only like 2 or 3 damage, I don't think it's going to worth it. It'd be worth it. If it's something like 4 or 5 damage, it might be. But, we're going to get so much extra damage from her from extra turns, I don't even think it will matter if we keep her at Legends. But I'll have to double check on that Ash Tender website. Actually, I probably could do that right now. She might have already updated it. Let me go check. I keep calling it Ash Tender. It's actually called Gems of War Database now. That's what it was called before. The URL handle thing. But anyways, let me go check that real quick. I actually am curious on that. That might actually determine on if I do go for it or not. Because that would save us a lot of resources if we actually are going to go and Mythic it. Depends if I'm going to build a Guild War team into it. If I'm not using it for Guild Wars, I won't really need to upgrade it. And I can't think of what Guild War Day I'd really use it for. I guess blue? Maybe? It'd have to be either blue or green. So, most likely blue, because I believe green is decent enough at the moment that I don't really need to switch it for something else. Though my current green team is really bad against freeze. Like, if we were up against this team right here, it would lose, for sure. If my green team went up against that. Same as if it went up against that, it could lose, so that one's slightly easier for it, but still. Like something like this, it could easily defeat. Well, obviously, actually, that's a really bad team because it's a really low level, but it's mainly Queen Mabs that just tear apart my Green Day, so we'll see. Anyways, let me double check that right now. Let me go to Gems of War database, double check if it's actually been updated, and Gems of War database. See if the most recent troop that's being added tomorrow is on it. What was her name again? It was called oh gosh, what's with these names? Hyndla? Hyena? Hyena? Hyndla Frostcrown. I'm just gonna call her Frostcrown. Okay, so Frostcrown, is she on this thing? Frostcrown. Wouldn't it be Frostier? Oh, it is on here. Sweet. Okay, how much benefit does it gain from being mythicked? Mything it would give... Mything it. Words. Mythicking it. That's probably even less of a word. But mythicking it would give us 3 additional attack, 6 additional HP, 2 additional armor, and 2 additional magic. So basically, we're only getting 2 additional magic. That I don't think is going to be worth it. Yeah, I'm not going to use the little Ascension orb thing on it, I don't think. The only real benefit we get is slightly more durability by about 6, or exactly 6 actually. Never mind. Exactly 8. We'd get 8 higher durability, 3 higher attack, and 2 higher magic. Is that worth it to mythic it? Probably not. If we were using Guild Wars a lot, maybe. But if for normal battling, and if we only intend to kind of like mess around with this in PvP and such, she gains, if we have 2 of them on a team, she's gaining 4 HP and 4 magic every single extra turn we do. We don't really need to have another one. Or, you know, like that extra Ascension, I don't think. Yeah, I think she's going to be fine without it. Because she gains durability and damage output. So yeah, I think we're going to just get 2 copies of her, 3 copies of her, and just leave it at that. Whatever we get lucky enough to get will probably be how far we go. And we'll just leave it there. So yeah, I won't be going too heavy into her, I don't think. But I don't know, we'll still see. It is tempting to use the orb on her, and it would give us the first ever orb usage. So maybe I will go do that on Monday just to show what an orb is like and then never do it again. Because I do want to save the rest of them. Because I haven't actually shown an orb in use. I don't even know what it looks like when you use an orb. Because I haven't used a single one yet. So, okay, maybe I'll go throw it on her. I might throw it on her. Okay, anyways. What else did I miss in chat? Suggestion for a PvP team you're using, which is working very well. For you, Gorgotha, Troll, Fire Troll, Yagway, and Queen Titania. Sure, we'll give it a shot. I have used Gorgotha with Fire Troll before, though not that particular team. I will go do it right after we go clear out this, though, because I don't want to have to deal with the freezes. Let's see. You know that if you out one gnome of treasure in defense deck in PvP, you win many times. 2 weeks that you put one gnome defend, and wow, you think it is a bug. Maybe there is a glitch with it, I'm not quite sure. There could be some platforms that have a weird glitch with it, though I haven't seen any posted on the forum. Normally if there was a glitch that major, like maybe if it like crashed when it runs away or something, that would probably have been reported by now. But, I don't know, maybe it's just getting lucky, or maybe the team composition you have it in is just happen to be working. Or maybe people think it's a real gnome and then they see it run away, and then they rage quit from seeing it run away, and that could maybe make you get more wins, I'm not sure. There could be a lot of weird factors to that. Actually, I think that might be it. If you're using only one gnome on your team, it might be people thinking it's a real gnome, it then runs away, and then they just rage quit. Out of every possible option, I think that is the most likely one, is people just rage quitting from thinking it's a real gnome, and then it runs away, and then it's like, oops, I'm not dealing with this, and then they just exit the game. I don't know. It seems like the most logical thing. We'll go for the Mercy here. Throw that down. But it could be a glitch with run away or something on some platforms, or some other weird thing. Who knows? I wouldn't really think a team with him would win more, though. There's very, very, very few things you could really use him for. The only thing he's very viable with is a yellow troop that is a good damage source while also simultaneously doing damage, which I don't think exists, if I'm not mistaken. Yellow damage source that also summons. Let me see. Yellow, summon. Oh, Uriali. Okay, never mind, I lied. There is one. Uriali works. And Garnock would maybe work in some instances, but mainly Uriali, yeah. Actually, there is one. Uriali, and that's it. And Furnace is a good damage source, but he doesn't summon. And... okay, Uriali and Skady would both technically work for that. Not Xenos. Xenos is useless. But yeah, the best option for that would be Uriali. I actually haven't even done that yet, using the new gnome guy with an Uriali. That probably still wouldn't be that good, but I guess it would be something to use it for. Yeah, Cedric Sparkle Sack, but he doesn't have damage, is the problem with Cedric. If we go under Cedric, he, oh, I need to do more than that, apparently. He doesn't have damage. Okay, that's not how you spell his name, apparently. Where's the vault? That's not the vault. Where's the vault? There it is. Oh, it's because... wait, why is it not appearing? Oh, it's because I don't have unowned. Oops. He probably would have already done it, but I didn't have unowned up. Fail. 1 second. Where's the thingy for that? Unowned, unowned. There we go. He doesn't do any damage, though. He pulls the last to the front. He charms a random enemy, but he has no damage. You would kind of need damage on it, too. It doesn't have to be, but because you're already giving up one whole slot, you kind of need it. It'd be kind of helpful. But yeah, I think Uriali would be the best bet for it. If you were to actually try synergizing something with him, though he's so weak that I wouldn't really bother. You'd have to force your whole team around him just to be able to kind of even make him work. Anyways, what was I about to go do? I was about to do the one thing with, someone suggested... where'd it go? Completely lost where it was. Well, Legends are coming tomorrow. Yarrow Fire Mantle, which is already in the game, as well as a new Giant, green-blue. It gives all Giants 2 life and 2 magic every extra turn it does. So very, very powerful with Giants. It also triple freezes the enemy team and triple hits the enemy team. So it's going to be basically like a Stonehammer. I mean, not Stonehammer. Basically like a King Highforge, except instead of stun, it'll be freeze. Instead of hitting 2 troops for full damage, it'll hit 1 for full damage and 2 for half. So it's basically the exact same amount of damage as a Highforge, except it hits 1 fully and 2 halves instead of 2 fulls. It's the same amount of damage, just distributed differently. But it gains so much more magic that it's quite a bit better, and freeze is way better than stun anyways. So she's going to be more viable, I feel like, than Highforge. And I already use Highforge for Brown Guild War Day, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using her for Blue Guild War Day. Not sure on Green yet, though, but definitely Blue Guild War Day. I do intend to use her in something. Oh! That's something else I still haven't done. I still need to use the new, what's his name? I forget his name. It's that one new knight that came in, the most recent Mythic. He silences, stuns, and drains all mana from enemy. Actually, most of that's pretty irrelevant. The main thing I need him for is all blue allies gain 1 to all stats per turn. I haven't gotten to test him yet because when he launched, we didn't have Guild Wars around for Blue Guild War Day. So this will actually be the first week where we could potentially use him in Guild Wars. Not sure if I will be using him. I'm definitely planning more towards the new giant the new giant than trying to mess with this guy. But maybe we'll be able to do both simultaneously. We'll see. Too bad she can't give it half mana. I mean, too bad we can't give it the magic buff, the HP magic buff. Anyways, where's that one team I was just looking for? Someone asked me to do something. Oh yeah, it was Gorgotha, Fire Troll, Yaogwei. Let me go do that. Over to suggested team slot. Still an annoying team, but hopefully it'll be able to beat that. We'll go into Gorgotha. Boom, get that in there. Gorgotha. What else? Fire Troll. Fire... Is it one word? Fire Troll... No, it's not. What's his name then? Troll. Fine. We'll go type in Troll. Oh, it's Flame Troll. Oops, and I just got rid of Gorgotha. Fail. Gorgotha. Get that in there. What else do we need? We needed... Yaogwei. And probably Queen Titania. And Queen... Yeah, Queen Titania. There it is. Okay. And Banner was one suggested. Nope. Then I'm probably just going brown yellow. Because Gorgotha. And there we go. Okay. Let's see what it does. Do you prefer to run Yaogwei with Alchemist and a Treasure Gnome? We were just talking about Treasure Gnomes. It's kind of funny. But yeah, there we go. So that's one less thing we'll have to deal with. Let's see. Can you show the card of the new Legendary Troop that will come out tomorrow? Yeah, we went over at the beginning of the stream, but I can go bring it up real quick again. Let me go find a little graphic for it. 1 second. And where's the little screen for it? Window capture. Why does it keep bringing up that weird window? I don't even have that window open. It's like some kind of glitch screen from Windows, just randomly popping something up. Windows 10. It keeps wanting to bring it up. But there we go. This is the new legend coming out tomorrow, and the main thing you'd be seeking if you're actually opening event keys. It's also going to single-handedly make Giants viable again. Well, with the Titan hero class fully traded. Titan uses red-blue trait stones if you still need to farm it up. And you can go do that underneath the Mist of Scales Kingdom, so definitely go and grind that out if you haven't already. Would be a really good idea with this new legend. But she deals damage to an enemy, half of that to the 2 adjacent enemies. So basically she does that amount of damage twice, but it's distributed half and half on the one above and below. And then she freezes them all, so assumably all 3 that she hits, not all of the enemies, but the 3 that she hits, she will freeze. And then she summons a random giant. So basically a different version of Highforge is what it is. Probably more viable in most situations as well. And it gives all allies 2 life and 2 magic every single time it does an extra turn. And that means she's gaining 4 life and 2 magic to herself every extra turn, as well as 2 life and 2 magic to all giant allies. And you can use this with Titan Hero class. That will gain the benefit of all of her little traits there, as well as it will give her... it's going to be really viable, too, of her, since you'd be getting 4 life and 4 magic to every giant on your team. So it's probably going to be some kind of team with hero class using a mana generation weapon, 1 other giant, 2 of her, and that's essentially the entire team. And you just keep spamming her over and over again. I'm not sure what that other giant will be. It might even just be a 3rd copy of her, we'll have to see. But yeah, definitely really viable. Might not even be a giant, maybe it'll just be like a Valkyrie or something to mana generate. I don't think there's a blue generation weapon though that would work, but I don't know, we'll tweak around with things and see what we can do. Also, we could use trolls as well. Every single troll in the game is a giant, so we could use one of those and utilize that aspect. But yeah, that's the new legend coming out tomorrow. It'll be an event key draw pull. Definitely advise getting at least one of them if you have the spare event keys to throw. It's going to be a really good week to do it. You also have the chance at Euro Fire Mantle if you don't already have them, as well as Storm Shield if you don't already have them. Both of which aren't really too over the top, but they are still going to be in a drop table if you are interested. Let's see, I'll go move that. Are we getting Plains Arcane in the Glory Shop tomorrow with the new troop? Yes. It'll also be very cheap as well. They should only cost 200 glory each, so a great time to stock up on yellow, purple trait stones if you need them for anything. What would be the main thing you would throw that on? I'm trying to think of the main yellow, purple that gets traded these days. Why can I not think of one? Most yellow purples aren't really too over the top, which is probably why I'm kind of throwing a dud right now. Seriously, I cannot think of a viable yellow purple. That is pretty sad. I know there's not too many. I can think of Shadow Dragon, but Shadow Dragon you don't need a fully trait, so he's technically not a viable red, yellow, purple because you don't actually need to trade him. I need to go double check that. I actually don't know what you throw yellow, purple on, but do make sure to stack up because it is nice to have more. I know the Centaur hero class uses it, but that's not too particularly good of a hero class. Mummified King all the way. Don't even joke like that. Mummified King is the most useless troop in the entire game. One of them. Among one of them. Anyways, let's see what we get from this treasure gnome. Can we just pull a casual Vault Key out of nowhere? Oh, 20 gems though. I believe that's the highest gem drop it can do. It's not too bad. 20 gems. Would not complain about that, though I do wish it was a Vault Key. Anyways, troops that are yellow purple that aren't complete trash. Useless. Oh, Divine Isabella. Throw them all into Divine Isabella right now. Or next week. Yeah, fully traded Divine Isabella. How could I forget that? It's probably because it's so recent. But yes, fully traded Divine Isabella would be the main thing you would throw your yellow purples into. If you don't have that, there aren't really any good early game versions of yellow purples. I guess you could go maybe Herdmaster fully traded. There's some niche instances for him. He's also a really cheap cleanse, and he can get his mana up a little bit quicker when he gets his final trait. But yeah, definitely fully traded Divine Isabella. That's the first priority I would put your yellow purple into. Everything else is not that big of a deal. I forget if Queen Aurora uses it, but it would also be good to throw it into Queen Aurora if she does. And these three troops don't really get used too much, so you don't even really need to worry about those mythics. Shadow Dragon only needs first trait, so you don't need to worry about that. His other two traits are pretty useless. He only gains a useless amount of attack, which isn't even useful on him, even if it was a like 3 or 4 attack. I don't know why this is only 1 attack. They definitely need to buff this. It doesn't even fit his kind of theme. I wish it did like 1 random true damage to the enemy or something. I never understood this trait on him. If they were to buff his trait, he'd become a very viable troop. His ability isn't really that good, but it's really good when using it with dragons that need a lot of purple, as well as any team that needs a lot of purple. With the exception of Fairish Ra teams, because Fairish Ra already does the transform, so you don't need 2 troops doing the same thing. You'd rather just go 2 Fairish Ras at that point. But yeah, basically, yellow-purple trait stones. Main things are Infernus, if he uses it, I forget if he does. Inferno King, once you've traded Queen Divine Isabella, we'll get it right eventually. And the main thing you'd want to throw them all in is fully traded Divine Isabella. By far the best thing you can spend yellow-purples on. Everything else is basically at your own discretion, and maybe Herdmaster, because you would need that for early game. But, yeah, not too many things under here. I guess, make sure you have things like Dracos, Emperor Liang, Divine Isabella, maybe Greenseer and Hellcat, just because they get used a lot. Their traits are horrible, but Herdmaster, Infernus if he uses it, Inferno King, Queen Aurora if she uses it, and Skady if she uses it. That's about all you'd really need to do. Voice of Orpheus these days is pretty useless, given how many more cleanses they've been adding, and Divine Isabella is just better than it, so why ever use Voice of Orpheus? Exynos is also useless, so never need those. Oh, and I guess there's also Scorpius if he uses it, but doesn't really get used for anything, so never mind with that. But yeah, mainly there's Divine Isabella. Divine Isabella, Herdmaster for early game. That's all you really need to know for yellow-purple. If you have those two, you're perfectly fine as far as yellow-purples are concerned, but do stack up because they're only 200 glory each, so you can get all the yellow-purple you would ever want, ever. We did this team, right? Ended up doing okay. Yeah, we did. We go give it another shot. We're up against a Scion right now, which is why I was a little hesitant there. But we'll give it one more shot and to see what I can do against this. And yeah, definitely seems like a nice team. Not personally something I think I would run as a normal team though. But it definitely works. Alright, we'll go move that over. Oh! I should have taken that yellow over there. It was actually safe. And I didn't go for it for whatever reason. Okay, let's move that over. Luckily he has immune to mana drain, if nothing else. So we do get to keep our mana, and we could use this for mana generation right now. If we can actually get alignment. Do we go for this? I think I do. I'm gonna go for this. I didn't get any cascaded greens. But at least we get that down. Oh, he has famine? Oh, it's barely gonna hit anything, though. Can I take something that we don't use? We'd have to take this green. Oh, but then I give him yellow. Fail. Okay, he does almost no damage because I deliberately made sure he had nothing to drain, though in doing so I gave him a bunch of yellow, so I guess that was kind of counterproductive. I'll take the yellow here because why not? Oh, really? Scion, please. This is why I don't like using Gorgotha against Scion. I do on occasion, when I don't feel like switching out the team for something. But yeah, Scion's really annoying against it. Do I just throw this? Is this enough damage? Do I need to double check to see if it's exactly enough? It is not exactly enough. It will fall quite a bit short. So that's not going to work. We're going to be about 2 damage short, 3 damage short. If you had Fairy Fire on it, that would work. But I'll just take that, I guess. Maybe he won't do his turn. Ooh, actually got lucky there. Please don't miss. Oh, there we go. Okay, and there's our comeback. And that's pretty much match. We don't have alignment, but at least we get a pair out of it. And one little poke will do it. Let's just go take our stuff against some reds, move that over. And what else do we need here? We'll just... Come on, any damage, any damage. We'll take that red. And down it goes. Doesn't matter what we do at this point, as long as we cast something. And down it goes. Oh, what works instead of Infernus in that other team? Yeah, you can use Guard Avatar in this team if you wanted to. This other one over here. Yeah, I don't see why not. You don't get the extra turn chance off of it, but it's still decent damage. It would also make it so you still cover another color if you're using a first slot Diviner and it happens to die. Though normally I use second slot Diviner. I only use first slot Diviner for up against Scion, just so we have a Scion counter. That's about the only time I really use in the first slot. We were up against a Scion counter last, so that's why it's there. Anyways, Mercy, do we have you? No, we do not. We get 3 different instances of it, but that's not enough for full mana. I mean, that's not enough for extra turn, so we're not going for it. And once again, no extra turn, so let's move that, take some reds, move that. Double check the board. Again, nothing. I guess we'll just get a guard down. Would be great if they actually used Daemons. Would be very effective, but for now, we'll just get a single poke. Only bad thing about this team is we don't have any way to get the armor back up. So if we lose his armor, we pretty much lose the game. Well, maybe not necessarily lose the entire battle, but we lose a lot of damage potential the second he gets hit with anything. That's a pretty big liability. And again, as I mentioned, he ends his turn every time he casts. Okay, so we already got hit some, meaning our damage is lower. Actually got hit really hard because we have so many yellows on our team. And yeah, this is why you normally don't use Guard. Guard has its purposes, but it's mainly these days only used for 2 things. It's used on, or at least one thing I love using it on, is if the team has a lot of things that need to be stunned. I like using an Honor version of him, because Honor does a really large, you're going to get stuns off of Corvash, and then you can get a gigantic armor buff off of the stun boost ratio off of Honor and first slot, and then you just throw that armor buff into Guard's Avatar, and you can get the entire team stunned while getting an infinite armor Guard's Avatar. The only other instance I tend to use him for these days, very occasionally, though it doesn't pop up that often anymore, is a 4x Daemon team. At one point, this was the best kind of team in the game, though he came into the game and slowly kind of chipped away at them ever being used, and then other team compositions started to become viable, and then you basically never ever see it anymore. Very rarely will you see a 4x Daemon team, but if you see a 3x, 4x Daemon team, that's the only other instance where Guard's Avatar tends to really come into play. In most other instances, he's pretty much just dead content at this point. Well, not dead content, but compared to things like World Breaker or Infernus, they are better in more teams than, or in more, against more team compositions than what a Guard's Avatar is. Guard's Avatar is extremely niche in what it gets used for these days. Okay. And in his main counter doesn't really get used anymore, so doesn't really get to see much use. And of course, they just keep chipping away at our damage potential there. We'll go get him right back up, though. And we'll get one more guard, though at this point, it's basically just removing barrier. Do we have extra turn? You know what, let me go get that now, just so we can go get that poke in there. Oops, that's not an extra turn, I almost went for it. That would have been bad. I'll go throw this down. And that looks like we'll just kill it with Divine Isabella. I love how Divine Isabella is supposed to be more of a support troop, it almost feels like. Yet it works so offensively with how much damage it does. It even makes a Mercy able to kill things with skulls. That is pretty sad. Mercy doesn't have the lowest of attacks, but it is pretty low compared to the average troop. I know it's below average, It's not like too low because it could also end up getting a blessed, which makes it too higher attack, 1 in 4 chance, but it is below average of what a normal troop would have as far as attack value. Actually, Guard's Avatar that we have on this team is about the average, I would say. Scion's also ridiculously below average. Actually, a lot of pretty good troops that tend to get used are pretty below average. The main reason for this is the lower your attack is, the higher your durability is. It's a weird kind of scaling that they did, and they only did it specifically for... actually, you know what? We'll do this again, because he's actually using 2 daemons that we can silence, so we'll at least get to utilize him here a little bit more. But, I forgot what I was just going to mention. Rip. I forgot what tangent I was just going on, but anyways, let me look at chat some. What would happen if you open Gems of War on PC and mobile simultaneously? I believe they fixed multi-logging in. They used to be exploited a lot by quite a few people. So I think they fixed it and just made it so you can't dual log in onto the same account. And if you can, I believe you can't be in the battle on both of them at once. I think you can chat and global chat on one while the other account plays a battle. But I don't think you can have both of them in a battle simultaneously. It just won't let you. It'll say some kind of weird error message or something that was basically saying that you can't do it or something. I'm actually not sure because I never really bothered doing it. But it brings up some kind of like little error messaging thing, kind of saying that you're in like 2 instances of the game and then it won't allow you. It'll either like kick you out of both of the battles or do something. But yeah, you can. I believe you can still do global chat on one while the other plays normally. But I can almost guarantee you that you can't play both of them normally simultaneously. Because people were using that to essentially farm resources twice as quick, or 3 times as quick, or however many devices they had. They were basically just logging on like 5, 6, 7 devices, and then just like blowing on all of them, and getting like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the rates of a normal person playing just on one platform. So yeah, they fixed that. That shouldn't be possible anymore. But I haven't tried as of recently. Or ever, for that matter. Let's see. We'll go and... Do we even have alignment here? I'm gonna move that over. I'll go move that. Trying to get a skull drop, didn't get it though. Yeah, I still much prefer the Infernus option, but if you had to go with guard, I guess it wouldn't hurt. It's just not as good. Go move that over. And there we go. One little poke, kill it out. Let's see. My title is a lie? What does my title say right now? Giants become viable tomorrow. Why? Did I... What's wrong with that? Or did it not update? What does the title currently say? The other title is currently right. Wait, are they called something other than Giants? No, they're called Giants. Unless you're, like, referring to the football team and making a joke about that. Let's see. Giants. Yeah, they're Giants. They are definitely Giants. Also, here's everything that you'll be able to viably use starting tomorrow. Well, not everything, but the main ones out of here that are noteworthy to keep an eye on if you're making teams tomorrow with the new troop with the fully traded hero class. There are several of them. Basically every troll. That's pretty much a given. But it's Cyclops, Stark Troll, Desert Troll, Etten possibly, Fire Giant, Flame Troll, Forest Troll, Yarrow Fire Mantle, Drottnar possibly, Rock Troll, Sea Troll, and that's about it. Like I said, there aren't really too many viable giants in the game. Actually, there aren't really even many giants in the game, period. I didn't even realize how many of the giants are actually trolls. Like 1/3 of every giant in the game is basically a troll. How have I not noticed that? Wow. That would explain why not many giants out there. But yeah, the 6 trolls are definitely the most viable things to really be using with that. Well, maybe not the most viable, but you're of course doing an HP and a magic buff. There aren't too many benefits to getting magic on giants though. Attack, yes. Magic, no. As far as ones that would gain the biggest benefit from magic, that would mainly be things like Yarrow, as well as the new troop that's coming in, herself, which is why I kept saying we might be using 2 or 3 of her, because you gain such a big benefit from her own trait, and the hero weapon. Those are the biggest things that are going to gain the magic buff from her. As far as HP buff, basically every giant's pretty good with the HP buff. They already have normal HP buffs normally. Almost all of them have big trait. The ones that don't have big generally have the huge trait on it. So they tend to do pretty good as far as HP is concerned. They get pretty tanky. Particularly the ones that have like 50% skull reduction, like Stone Giant and stuff like that. Let's see. Giants will never be viable. They kind of already are if you use like your hero class with like a Earl and some kind of weird team like that. It's not too over the top, but I do feel like she is going to make them viable. You're going to need like 2 of her though at minimum, but spamming her will be viable. Freeze is super, super potent, and we'll be able to get very high damage with the freeze. We basically get a Borealis and a cast that does a lot more damage. We finally get basically a viable version of Borealis. Not only is she 1 mana cost cheaper than Borealis, but she does around 2 to 3 times more damage. Plus she keeps stacking even more damage than a Borealis does. She has a lot less skull damage, but very rarely are you ever going out of your way to specifically use a Borealis for skull damage. Normally you'd be using a Web Spinner if you're looking for 3 times skull damage, not a Borealis. But yeah, it's basically a viable version of Borealis that works for giants particularly instead of a dragon team. So yeah, we'll see exactly what happens with her. Of course, giants aren't going to become the meta. I'm not saying that at all. There's no way giants will become meta starting tomorrow. Oops, I didn't mean to use this again, but oh well. They're not going to become very, very viable, but they will become useful and usable. And there are niche instances where you will be definitely needing them. Regardless, you need to go get Titan Hero class fully traded regardless due to invasions and raids now. Invasions and raids will... there will be many instances where you're going to need that, because any kingdom or any troop typing, which is basically just giants and I think one other one, elemental, giants and elemental, you can use trolls on those days, and if you use a hero class with it, the Titan Hero class, those also start with half mana, which will lead you to get a lot of a really quick mana start they can use for invasions and raids on applicable days. And there are 6 kingdoms that will work in, as well as 2 types in invasions, elementals and giants. Okay, we'll go through this then. Get our poke. Move that up if it will let me. Also, we get to start a bounty hunter this Friday too. I have no clue what exactly that will do, and I'll probably cover a video on it on Friday morning or sometime in that general time frame. But yeah, we'll see exactly what's up with that. You think if they nerf Infernus and do a refund for him, you can keep refunding him and trading him with orbs? Oh, I never thought about doing that. Interesting. I assume if you untrade something and then trade it up, you would be able to go and use your orbs on it. But I believe you can only ever refund each troop once, because there used to be a really big exploit where you could gain infinite resources by constantly refunding it. The way that you were able to do that at one point was because if you had any kind of bonus, like for example a VIP bonus that made your troops start at level 5, you could refund it all the way down to level 1, and then, I mean, not refund it down all the way to level 1, it refunds back down to level 5 or whatever level you have it at, but you gain the souls back as if you refunded it all the way down. So you were basically getting the souls that it would have cost from level 1 to 5 or level 1 to 10 or whatever you were at every single time you clicked refund. So it was basically, there was a way in the past where you could gain infinite souls off of it. So I believe their solution to that was you only get 1 refund. Instead of fixing the whole soul glitch with it, they're like, yeah, you only get 1 refund now for each one. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but you could do it once on every single troop. So yes, you should be able to do that once. Though I don't think you'd be able to repeat it multiple times, though it's worth a shot. If it says no, then well, you won't be able to do it, but you could definitely do it at least once. But it is an interesting way to kind of get extra resources from your thing. So basically, if we really wanted to, though I don't think I will, especially since we already have excess, what we could do is go use our orb that we have, not troops, go under hero. We could use the, where is it? This orb over here. We could go refund a Infernus. Let's say Infernus gets nerfed, he becomes refundable. Then we use a major Orb of Wisdom on him, and boom, we just get all those traits back. And then there, we just got all those trait stones that we refunded from him, and then we just got them fully traded back to normal. And then all those trait stones that we got from the refund, we then get to keep as actual trait stones. So that is a really interesting way to cash in major Orbs of Wisdom. I personally have no need to do that, but that is a interesting mechanic. that should work. We'll find out on the next refund. If anyone does end up doing that, let me know and tell me what happens. But yeah, that definitely sounds like it would work. It's worth a shot. I have no interest in doing that though, because I obviously, due to the stacks of arcanes we need, that is like the last thing I need is more arcane trait stones. Our lowest trait stone, actually this weekend we end up doing that during our earlier morning streams on Friday and Saturday. We're now at base 150 on arcanes, actually base 151. We have 151 or more of every arcane in the game, some of which are even over 200 at this point. Some are even approaching 300, but every single one we have over 151 on. So we have no need to get more arcane trait stones. That is for sure. Yeah, interesting concept nonetheless. Anyways, let me go to dungeons. Haven't even done dungeons yet. It's already been an hour. This whole day flew by because of that hour shift. I always hate that hour shift. The first few days after that hour shift always is very annoying. Yeah, that's just always been a thing. I don't know if all of you have had that hour shift. I don't know what parts of the world actually do that, or if it's just the United States or what's up with that. But there was the hour shift last night, which moved time forward an hour. So if you're wondering why this stream is 1 hour earlier right now, that is why. It's because of that hour shift thing. Anyways, let me go. Because normally our stream, I think if you didn't have the hour shift, would have started 5 minutes ago. Not, whereas we actually started a whole hour ago. Anyways, let me go and, what was I about to go do? Dungeons, there. Let me go do that before I forget. It's Diamond Day, too. This is not the day to forget to do dungeons, that is for sure. Let me go and just wipe it out with this real quick. Only takes a few minutes to go through dungeons, which is always annoying because if you forget it, it's like, okay, come on. It only takes like a few minutes. I kind of wish they would have, if they were to add some kind of sigil system to the game, I wish they would have done it specifically to dungeons. Like, they kept adding it to a bunch of stuff. Let's add it to dungeons now. Don't let you have any extra way of gaining them, but have it so you could go do it if you forget it on a day. So that if you log in at least once a week, you can still do them. I'm pretty sure they'll never do that, because the whole point of these is like to convince people to like log in every day. But I wish if you forget a day, you could still do it on the following day or something. Because if you forget to do a dungeon on one day, you will not be able to get those resources. It's not like anything else in this game where you can normally only need to do it once a week. You can just save it for like Saturday or Sunday or something. These you have to do the day of every single day. And if you don't get the resources. Okay, we'll just go and throw... also, in me keeping track of my diamond counts constantly, I never actually realized that us throwing that 50 pack every day is actually lowering the amount of gems we had. If we go look at our gem count right now, it is technically being lowered every day that we do these dungeons, overall. Like our net amount of diamonds is going down, not up. Which means we're basically earning less than 50 diamonds, 50 gems a day, essentially. So I need to go try getting more gems. I guess I need to take my tribute more often. I think they're doing some kind of rework for tribute in the future too, to make it so you don't have to claim it every hour or some kind of change to it. I'm not quite sure exactly. But that might end up being a buff to tributes, actually, whatever they're planning for it. I forget the exact details to it, but they are doing some kind of tribute rework, and I believe favorable to us. Though, the only annoying part about that is newer players don't really gain as much of a benefit from it, but people who have been playing for a while would see a drastic change from it, most likely, since we get such ridiculously good rewards from them already. Okay, we'll go throw that down. We'll go throw Sunbird down. What else do I need to move? We'll take the red. Go move that over. Whatever they're planning for tribute, it's probably a nerf. I'm not sure if it's actually a nerf overall. I think for once it's actually a buff. Anyways, there's Diamond Day. Those very good resources. If you're ever going to throw this down, this is the day to do it. The Sunday, because this is really, really good value. You get 80 diamonds for only 50 gems. That alone is worth it. Other than that, you get 2 gem keys, which you can consider like 20 gems right there. So, boom, this only costs 30 for everything else. Get a Celestial, get some souls. Actually, it's technically 84 diamonds because you get those 400 shards. And yeah, definitely, if you haven't been, definitely throw it at least on Sundays when it's Diamond Day. Every other day, not necessarily worth it, but Sundays definitely are 4 to 50 gems. It's the same amount, so if you have the spare 50, definitely go for it on that day. Every other day, you can just ignore. It'll save you 300 gems per week if you don't do all the other days. But yeah, we'll see what they do with Tribute. I believe it is something beneficial, though. But we'll see. You never know with them. You never know. Also, slight milestone. We hit over 400,000 glory. Didn't even notice that. Also, we're still level 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish we could keep that level forever. That's a pretty funny number. But, no. It's gonna be gone probably tomorrow night. You just noticed the slow down on leveling at level 1047. Yes, every level you do beyond level 1000 starts to take more and more EXP. It takes approximately 1 battle worth of EXP in order to gain an additional level beyond level 1000. I don't think this is stated anywhere in the entire game, but yes, you do start gaining levels drastically slower beyond level 1000. By level 1050, as you can kind of see, you start to really notice it. By level 1100, you'll really notice it. And by the time you reach our level, you'll be gaining like 1 or 2 levels a week, barely, if that. Soon we'll be reaching the point where we only gain 1 level a week. But yeah, we've been at this level, I think, for 2-3 days now, since like Friday. I think we've been at this level. Maybe Saturday, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't move that much. The higher you go, the slower it goes. Hello, David, welcome. What about the 150 pack? What 150 pack? Oh, that is definitely worth it if you want to throw the money at it. Of course, it's $5, so you'd actually have to buy it with real money. But if you did want to go for it, it is worth going for if you are interested in it. Though, yeah, it does cost $5 though. Yeah. It's one of the things that you could definitely consider. Let me see. What does it actually give these days? I don't even recall off the top of my head. I keep going to the wrong one. Fail. I'll click it eventually. It gives 150 diamonds, so basically 160 diamonds, 1,000 shards, 1,000 souls, 3 gem keys, 1 celestial. Yeah, it's worth it. Particularly if you're trying to get the diamonds to try to craft some kind of mythic or something. Because that's... How much of a mythic is that? So, let's say you bought this every single week, and you're only looking at the diamonds and caring about nothing else. So, let's ignore every other drop. If you were to throw this down until you had enough, so this is 160 diamond each time, it takes 4,000. What is that divided by 160? That comes out to 25 exactly, actually. So 25 times 5. So if you were to buy this pack, it would... Wait, did I just do that incorrectly? Yeah, I did. If you were to buy this pack every single Sunday, it would take 25 weeks. But it would allow you to craft any mythic in the entire game for $125. So, do you find that to be useful? That really depends how much you value $125. But yes, for $125 over the course of 25 weeks, did I just say? Yeah, 25 weeks. That would be able to craft any mythic in the entire game once they come around in rotation. You'd also get a lot of souls from that. You'd also get 75 gem keys from it, 25 celestials, and a bunch of other stuff too. But yes, that's basically, if you consider that to be worth it, then yes, on that pack. Hello, Anthony. Welcome. Do I pay money on the game? I've paid about 200/300-ish, somewhere in that general ball range. You can see from VIP 6 approximately how much I spent. VIP 5 is 130. VIP 6 I think is 200, and I'm like halfway through VIP 6 or something. Let me see. If I go into shop, I don't even know how far I am to next VIP. I forget the ratio on these. Completely forgot because I don't ever buy stuff normally from the game. Let's see, how much is 5? So every... Oh wait, that's the wrong number. Where's the VIP thing? 25. Oh, it's 5 every dollar. So divide that into that. That's 200. What's 200 divided by 5? That is 40. So that's $40. Then 200. I spent $240 on this game over the course of 3 years. That's how much we spent on this game. And normally it was for newer content stuff. It was for Dragon Armor initially. I spent about $30 or so when it first came out. Well, first, when the game first came out, I think I spent like $10 because I didn't know how much I'd actually play the game. I just like threw it into some magic keys. There were things called magic keys when the game first started. They're basically the equivalent of gem keys these days. So I got a couple of those. Then I went into Dragon Armor about a month after the game launched because then it started giving a bonus and I wanted to get that immediately. Then I didn't really make a purchase again until Death Knight Armor came out, and of course that was $50. Still is today. Really good value. Definitely highly advised. If you're going to get anything, get that. Other than that, I think I threw about $30 when Dungeons first came out. because I wanted to go get Xenos and the Dawnbringer earlier so I could show it to all you guys. And other than that, I threw probably like 50 or so, and the rest of that, however much I said, it was 240, so whatever I haven't said yet, the rest of that was just randomly thrown for other junk. Not sure exactly what I end up spending that on off the top of my head, actually, but and then that just brought us to our total of what appears to be approximately 240. Yeah. Anyways, back to the PvP grinds. And if anyone still has any questions or anything I might have passed, let me know. But I believe that comes down to just standard membership. That's how I always consider how much I should spend on the game. Is basically whatever, if there was a monthly subscription fee, as long as that's like under $10 a month, that is about how much I would spend on a game. So if we go and divide that out right now, let's see, we've been playing for 40 months. Interesting. We've been playing for 40 months, so 240 divided by 40. What does that come out to per month? $6. So that's a pretty cheap membership. Most membership these days for games are like 7, 8, or 9. But I've spent on average $6 a month on this game. We'll go through Mercy Down, get that going. Though at this point we have so many resources that unless they paywall something, we don't ever really need to spend money on it again. That's the only time we'd ever need to do it. What do we even need here? Go and... That would be great if we actually had our full mana right now, wow. But we don't. We'll move that over. You just realize how much you spent on this game? Yeah. There are some people that spend a lot. There's people in the thousands. There's apparently people in like tens of thousands as well. Because they released VIP 20. Like, I thought VIP 15 was going a little far, and then they've released VIP 20, which is highest VIP right now. It is around $8,000 to reach VIP 20, which is highest VIP. The amount of people that have that, I believe, is some amount. It's obviously someone, but I believe there are about a few dozen, probably under 100, though who knows. But there's definitely a couple dozen people who have spent over $8,000 on this game. But if people get happiness from it, that is perfectly fine. I do not judge what people spend their money on. If they enjoy it and feel like it's well spent, then perfectly fine. Though I would personally never get anywhere near that close on spending that much on a game, that is for sure. Also, why am I still using the guard's avatar? I meant to replace that back on Infernus. I can't even... What is the most I've ever spent on a game? I think the most I've ever spent on a game is actually Dota 2. I think I spent about $500 on, though I was also merching stuff. So even though I spent about $500 on that game, I net profited because I was flipping items and stuff like that. So even though I spent a lot of money on that game, I still technically net gained. Because I was using the stuff I was basically merching to go and pay for all of the Steam games I was getting at the time. So I was basically getting Steam games for free instead of having to pay money for them with that $500 I ended up spending on it, or however much it was. I forget the exact amount at this point. But yeah, I think that's the most I ever spent on the game, though it was technically an investment to make sure I would pay less for other stuff, so technically didn't really spend that much, even though I did spend that much. Also, there's still a lot of stuff I haven't cashed out from that yet. Quite a few of which have lost value, though some have gained value. But I think I still have like $300 or so tied up in that. I should probably go sell all that out eventually and go and you just use that for Steam games in the future. Because that could be a lot of Steam games. I probably have like $300-400 worth of Steam games I could get with all the rest of the stock I still haven't gotten. I used to do that while I was actually at flea market some too. While I was checking on eBay and stuff, I'd be like flipping on the market on Steam. But I don't do that anymore. They've added so much more like regulation and stuff to that. It's just a gigantic hassle to deal with it. Anyways, we'll go and throw Mercy. I'll go through that down. Move that down. Get that. Take a poke. Move that. Throw a Divinish Bell. Get the Infernus down. What about event weapons? Are there specific event weapons that should be a priority to buy? Most of them are useless. There are a few event weapons that if they ever come around are worth getting. Those are Staff of Madness. It's a red-purple 16 mana cost weapon that hits all enemies for a decent amount of damage, plus it steals 1 from all of their stats. That gives it to your hero. Particularly good if it hits magic, obviously, though it helps give it a little bit additional damage as well if it happens to hit like armor or HP or something. But that one, Crescendo, which is a 15 mana cost weapon that does true damage, that does a extra turn if you get a kill. Sun and Moon, which is a yellow-purple weapon for 16 mana cost that does damage to everything and gives all allies 2 magic, including yourself. Fire and Ice, which I don't think has ever been available since its event, but if it ever comes around, Fire and Ice is a red-blue weapon that costs 16 mana cost, hits all enemies, and gives all allies 2 life. And I don't think there was any other weapons that are really worth it these days that are event-related. There's a few kind of weird ones that under some circumstances could be usable, but those few that I just mentioned, those 4 or 3, whatever I just mentioned, are viable. So, Fire and Ice, Sun and Moon, Staff of Madness, and Crescendo. Those 4, I believe, are about the only 4 weapons that if I was to not have them, I probably would buy them for cash. And they cost $5, though they run on a weird rotation, some of which I don't even think have ever been offered since their initial event. They really need to add them to the Soulforge already or something, because they're really, really decent weapons. Particularly Sun and Moon, is a really great utility if you do not have, if you don't have Dawnbringer, because it's the only alternative to Dawnbringer under yellow. Of course, there's Dawnbringer, but there's no other weapon under yellow other than Sun and Moon that hits every enemy. Well, there's Dust and Sand, but it does armor reduction. It's not actual damage, so that's not as good. Yeah, there's no real equivalent to Sun and Moon other than Dawnbringer, which obviously is really expensive to get Dawnbringer. But yeah, there's that. What other event weapons are there? I don't think there was too many other ones that are really over the top. Let me see. There's Beer Totem, not worth it though. Let's see. Boom Boom, not worth it. Trying to identify which ones are actually specifically event weapons. Celestial Staff, not worth it. Chain Flail, not worth it. Chaos Blade, not worth it. Crescendo, worth it. That's one of the other viable ones, like I was mentioning, the true damage and all that. Crimson Exogdia, not worth it. Let's see. Using that memory. Deep Stone, not worth it, though it's really interesting. It explodes a gem and then destroys a row. It's the only thing that does a board control in that fashion, though it's not worth using, so you don't need it. I forget if Dreamcatcher is, but it's not worth it if it is. I don't think it is. Egg Explosion, not worth it though. Oh, Eternal Flame. There are niche instances where it's viable. It got nerfed so hard. It was once the best weapon in the entire game, but it got nerfed into oblivion. Same as Farsight Orb, that also got nerfed quite heavily. Very niche instances, wouldn't bother with it though. But yeah, there's that one. What other ones are there? Oh, Fire and Ice, absolutely amazing. Don't think they've ever offered it for $5, but if they ever do, get it immediately if it's ever available. Fire and Ice is a full AoE red-blue weapon. Really great if you don't have Dawnbringer. Obviously, you could just use Dawnbringer. This is basically the early game version of Dawnbringer if they ever bring this into the Soulforge or something. Very, very nice to have. And it covers basically the same colors except not yellow. And it does do less damage and has less of a beneficial effect, but it's a great alternative, but basically no one has it. I don't think they've ever actually offered it ever since the event, so only several thousand people who were playing all the way back in like 2015 or something, 2016, whenever they released it, have that weapon. Frost Reaver, don't need it. It's pretty bad. What other event weapons are in here? Goblin Crusher was actually added to counter goblins, though since then we've gotten Gob Chomper, so we don't actually need this weapon ever. So that weapon is pointless, so don't get it. Let's see, what other ones are there? I guess we could technically consider Hook Sword one now, since it's not available through any other mean anymore. So that one's also not worth getting, though if you automatically got it, then might as well for collection purposes. Merchant Blade, really weird weapon that can gain a bunch of resources. Probably not worth getting, though very early game players may consider it being worth it. What other ones are there? We've gone through almost every event weapon. I might have missed over a few. Prey Seeker, not worth it. Runic Blade, actually, I believe was one in the past, but then they made it a normal item instead. It's kind of weird. I think it's the first weapon that they ever released from, they made it a special event thing, but then they added it to Hero Mastery for whatever reason. Kind of odd. But, Silent Knight, not really worth it, just a single silence. It was really good when it first came out. Second weapon ever added to the game. Oh yeah, where's the first weapon ever added to the game? Savasi Blades. We're coming up to it. Did we pass it? No, I didn't pass it yet. I guess it begins with a... What does it begin with? I think I did pass it. Soul Trap is useless. Don't need it. Spark Rocket 2016 came out for 2016. Not worth it. What other ones were there? Oh, Staff of Madness. This was the one I said was really good. Deals damage to all the enemies. Steals 1 from a random stat. Really nice to have. If you do ever see it around. Sun and Moon again, if you see that around, really good to get it. Sun's Charm, useless. There it is, Savasi Blades, first weapon ever added to the game from an event. This was all the way back from 2014? 15? Starting to forget when this game launched. 2015? December 2015? Yeah, but whatever, regardless, this was the first event weapon ever added. If you got this from the actual event, you have been playing this game for ages. You've been playing this game for over 3 years. 3 years and 3 months if you own this weapon when you got it from Glory. So if you're a free-to-play player with this weapon, you are a very rare account out there if you are 100% free-to-play and have this weapon. Because that means you've been playing for over 3 years. I don't even know if that account even exists anymore. But there probably are still several. A 100% free-to-play account that actually has Savasi Blades. That is a super, super rare account type to actually have. But, yeah, that's the oldest weapon ever in the game, pretty much, other than the initial starting weapons. Never mind, that's from a thingy. That's pretty much all of them. I don't think there's any other ones, and if they are, they're probably useless. War and Peace was actually added for free. You get that from, completing out the KZL Kingdom. And, oh, Yasmin's Chalice, which isn't worth it, and Wrench Master, which is also not worth it. Oh, and Withering Touch, I believe, is also one, and it's not worth it. So yeah, that's basically a rundown on all those. Took quite a while going over them, but that's pretty much the rundown on them for whoever's interested on the weapons. You can get Fire and Ice for $25. That's a bit expensive. Can you actually get that from one of the pack things? I didn't even notice that. But, yeah, I wouldn't spend that much for it, but, if they ever offer it for $5, I would consider it to be worth it, personally. Though if you did want a cheap version of Fire and Ice and you don't mind spending $25 for it, I guess that could be okay. I believe there was a $20 pack too with Sun and Moon in it when you were like first starting off. It gives like some kind of starter pack with it. But yeah, both of them are basically just alternatives for Dawnbringer before we actually get a Dawnbringer. Neither of them are better than Dawnbringer. So once you get Dawnbringer, you never even need them. So, oh, it's under offers right now. Let me see, offers, growth packs, glory packs, monthly deal. Where? I don't see any. Or is it in the other little thing? Shop. Offers, subscriptions. I normally don't pay attention to the thingies that they have. That useless weapon. I just went over how useless you were, Sun Charm. Where is it? I don't see them under packs. It might be one of those temporary ones for when you're starting off. Oh yeah, it's one of the starter pack things. Yeah. You only get those when you're initially starting off in the game. You won't see them if you've already been playing. I think they run like 3 different weeks of starter pack stuff to try to get newer players to try to buy stuff. A good majority of the starter packs I personally would not consider to be worth it, particularly if you're only playing for short term. I would not really bother with them. And by the time you feel comfortable enough with the game that you may consider even wanting to buy them, they're probably not even going to be available anymore, which is kind of funny. It's kind of weird how they have those starter packs. But yeah, a good majority, I think every single starter pack, I think its value isn't worth it. There might have been one that was worth it or something, but yeah, a good majority of them aren't really worth it. You'd be better off just going with like daily gems and the advanced pack things and the Death Knight armor, definitely Death Knight armor, if you're going to be even bothering to spend on that much on a pack. But yeah, I wouldn't really bother with any of the starter packs until you really feel like you're going to actually start playing this game. And the starter packs, you'd want to play this game for at least a month before you would even really go for purchases that big. Which is why I don't understand why they bring it in so early. Anyways, let's go move that over. Also, a good majority of the starter packs haven't really scaled well with the economy either. They don't really give that much relative to the current economy of the game. Unless they've buffed them in the past, which they may have done. Let's see. Oh, there was a pack on... Oh yeah, there was something on, I think, Xbox where you could buy a pack for like $150 that had a bunch of stuff in it. Did those actually give you VIP things? That's kind of interesting, because when you buy packs on Steam, they currently have 2 packs on it, both of which aren't really worth it unless it's on like a 75% plus sale. But they have packs as well on Steam, but the ones on Steam don't give you VIP bonus, or don't give you VIPs. Like if you spend like, let's say, $3 on the pack when it's on a sale, and then you don't get any VIP in game, which is kind of weird. Not sure why that is, but yeah, the Steam ones don't. Yeah, the ones on Xbox, or if it was on PS4 too, those were pretty good value. Of course, I didn't get to see them or anything because I'm not playing on that platform. But I did hear quite a bit of people like spamming it like crazy because of how much free resources. Well, not free, but you know, it was ridiculously cheap resources relative to how they basically rate everything. Oh, sorry, Alexia, I didn't do your question. And if anyone else hasn't, if I didn't answer anyone else's question, let me know. Alexia, where's your actual question? I don't see it. I'm scrolling all the way through all the chats, and I cannot find it. Oh, asked you like 3 times. Sorry, Nick. You found a team unbeatable. It's a giant day. It's the Theoden, that one hero weapon, Flame Troll, Dark Troll, and Infernus. Interesting. And I assume you're using the hero class too. Was never really a big fan of that weapon, but yeah, we'll be trying a lot of really weird giant setups tomorrow, most likely. Interesting putting the Infernus in there just as a damage source. Definitely makes sense. And then you just have the double troll and basically just feed all into him. And wait, is that loop Flame Troll, Dark Troll? Does that have loop with each other? Let's see. Flame Troll creates purple. I mean, Flame Troll creates red, and Dark Troll creates purple. So yeah, that actually does have loop. Interesting. Yeah, that definitely has potential. I could maybe give it a shot, though that doesn't use the new troop, so I can't show it on Monday. But we can definitely do it for tomorrow's video or something. Hello, Pedro. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, what other questions did I miss? Lexia, where was your question? There we go. Does the drop rate change for Mythics change after Monday reset? No. There's currently no Mythic in the drop pool. So the current rate of Mythics are the exact same right now as they would be on Monday. There's no difference between the drop table now compared to Monday. Except, actually, that's slightly a lie. There might be some new troops coming into the drop pool. Because every single week, there are technically old troops that were from old events that now become available in the key drop pool. Though there's no indication in the game what troops those actually are. So I don't know which ones are coming in. But yes, whatever event thing from like 5 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, they'll probably be added to the drop pool on Monday. So technically the drop pool would be very, very slightly different. But as far as the Mythic drop table and everything like that, the Mythic drop table is exactly the same right now as it would be tomorrow. But yes, I guess technically wait for tomorrow because there was something probably from 4 or 5 weeks back that'll be added to that drop table that you'll probably be able to get. But yeah, I don't know if whatever was from 4 or 5 weeks back is even viable. But, yeah, I guess let's wait till tomorrow. But as far as the actual Mythic drop rate, no. It's the exact same now as tomorrow. There's no current Mythic in the drop table. And even if there was, it would last until Friday. Mythics last from Friday to Friday. They do not reset on the Mondays. The only Mythic drop table that will be different is off of event keys. There's going to be a Mythic in the drop table, but that's one specific Mythic, and it's going to be Jotnar Storm Shield. And the only reason for that is because the Kingdom of Stormheim for next week's event will have a Mythic in it. But yeah, in 5 hours, it even tells you when it's switching over. I believe all the keys do. But yeah, in 5 hours, we'll be able to go and spam all of our event keys then, and try getting the new legend, as well as that Mythic if you're interested in him. I think this one even says 7 days. So 7 days we'll be getting... it's going to be doing what I said, like some stuff from like 4 or 5 weeks back. It's going to update the drop table with those. That's basically what that's indicating right there, where it says changes in 7 days. It just means like some of the older stuff from like 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, if it's not already in a drop pool, will be added in 7 days. That's basically what that means. Anyways, let's see, what other questions did I miss? I think that was all of them. Was there anything else? What would you consider as a good game to get on Steam? These days, I don't know. I haven't been playing too many other Steam games. To be honest, the only game I've really been playing on Steam as of recently has been basically just Gems of War, and of course Puzzle Quest, for the Puzzle Quest series we've been doing. But yeah, it's pretty much just been Gems of War as of recently. Though, some games I would definitely advise getting if you haven't already played. Undertale, Stardew Valley, and... that's about it. There's probably a few others in there too. Of course, the Binding of Isaac series. I personally haven't played that too much. It's not really my type of roguelike. I prefer more of the RPG kind of type than the shooter kind of type. But it is quite a bit of fun if you are more into the shooter kind of type. I'm horrible at aiming things in real time, so I'm not normally too big of a fan of the Binding of Isaac. Also, the meta for that game is super annoying. Like the super advanced meta, and I don't really care for it. I don't find the meta to be fun. personally, and combine that with the fact I can't aim for if my life depended on it with arrow keys, that I don't really care for that kind of roguelike, but it is definitely one of the better roguelikes out there if you haven't ever played it before. There's actually a lot of pretty decent roguelikes on Steam. Also, if you're really into like the really heavy text-based RPGs, Tome, Tales of the... Oh, I forget what its full thing is called. Its abbreviation is called Tome, though. I'm pretty sure if you Google, you'll find it. Tales of something something. Really interesting, very heavy text-based roguelike. I don't play it anymore, but it is definitely one of the... If you like older style roguelike, it's like one of the best ones out there. And is available on Steam. I believe it also has the most Steam achievements of any game on Steam by like a gigantic margin. Not sure why or how they have so many achievements on the game. Well, I know how. They have like 4 different tiers or 5 different tiers of achievement things. But it's definitely a really fun roguelike. Let me see, what was the game called? I do want to mention that because that is a pretty noteworthy roguelike if you've never played it before. Definitely worth giving a shot if it's ever on a sale. I don't think I've ever actually played it on this channel. It's more fun to play than to watch, though. Tales of Majel. Majel is spelled M-A-J, that little apostrophe thingy, A-Y-A-L. But if you've never played that, definitely give it a shot if you like roguelikes and RPGs. Really insanely in-depth, though also pretty text-based and pretty old-school as well, as far as the interface of it. Definitely not for everyone, but it is one of the best roguelikes that I know of. Let's see. But yeah, I do need to go look into new upcoming Steam games. Haven't really been paying attention to new Steam releases over the last year, or really just gaming in general, other than like some Nintendo titles like Mario Odyssey and a few other niche kind of instances. But I don't know. I normally don't really follow the whole gaming industry too much. If I see a good game that I like, I'll just go to it, and that's basically what I'll do for gaming. If something looks interesting, sure, I'll go play it, but I don't normally follow games like that heavily, even though I do play a lot of games. You discovered Gems of War about a month ago, and you love the game, yeah. I just discovered it pretty much when it launched, and I've been playing it since. Got really addicted to it, as you guys can see at this point. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading off for tonight. We will be back in about 6 hours, 7 hours, but we'll be back whenever the event switches over in whenever that is. And I'll be recording the event video in 5 hours to 23 minutes. Probably be about 7-8 hours from now until it gets uploaded. Maybe 9. Because it is a little bit later. I'll have to stay up till like 3 p.m. Or 3 a.m. Which is annoying. Now that there's an hour switch, it doesn't reset until 3 a.m. now. So I'm going to have to stay up all the way until then I'll record the thing, and then head to bed at like 6 or 7 a.m. My schedule is so weird on Monday, but I like getting it out as soon as possible. Because if I do it the other way around, I might feel lazy when I wake up, and then it'll take like forever. It'll take like noon until it gets uploaded, instead of how I do it now, where it gets uploaded normally around 6 or 7 a.m., which is much better. When did SoulForge come out? SoulForge came out about 6-7 months ago, I want to say. Pretty recently, within the last year. It's one of the newer pieces of content. I believe it came out with 3.2, I want to say. Yeah, it's pretty recent, 6-7 months or so ago. It hasn't been around for, it came around pretty recently, is what I'm trying to say. It was the second last most recent major patch. The most recent major patch was, of course, the thing that brought in power orbs, raid bosses, invasions, and all that kind of stuff. The treasure gnomes, all those kind of things. But the major patch beforehand was the one that brought the SoulForge, and as well as dungeons. Both of those two new mechanics. SoulForge definitely still needs a lot of work. The scaling on it is really odd. Quite a few exchange rates aren't really worth it. These things are still completely trash if you're a late game player, though somewhat okay for newer players. Treatstone conversion rates are pretty bad on almost everything except maybe Celestials and minor Treatstones. Those are the only two conversion rates that are kind of possibly worth it. And maybe Arcanes if you only needed like a few, but if you needed multiple, definitely not worth it. If you needed like 3 and you didn't want to go out of your way to go bother with them, but still, that burns through so many resources doing it like that. But yeah, it definitely still needs a lot of work. But yeah, this game's been around for 3 years. 3 years, 3 months. Oh, actually 3 years, 4 months, if you count their actual launch. But it didn't launch on Steam until 3 years ago in... 3 years, 3 months ago in November. But it technically launched about 2 months prior to that. Because it launched in Australia then it launched on mobile only, and then it eventually came to Steam like a month later, and then it eventually came to all mobile versions, and then I think about 6 months later or so, they added it to all console versions other than Nintendo. And they are eventually, I believe, planning on getting on Nintendo Switch, though of course there's a whole legal and everything process that they need to go through with that, so not sure when, if ever, they're going to be doing that, but I definitely hope they do. That would definitely convince me further to go get a Nintendo Switch if the Gems of War was launched on that platform. It would probably also be the only Match 3 game on that platform, which would probably make it really hard for them to even get on it, but would be kind of cool if they did. Let's see. Is there any info on the Bounty Hunter game that starts next week? No. Basically zero info. Other than what they said on the changelog that they posted for 3.3, we have zero info on it whatsoever. So unless they do some kind of preview video in the next few days or something, we're going into it almost completely blind. All we really know is we battle stuff, we get points for those battles, we can buy troops with those battles, or with those points, and that's basically all we know. We don't know if there's going to be an energy system, they better not, on it. We don't know what other rewards will be available. All we know is there's going to be a few bounty hunter troops available, but we don't know what else is going to be available. We don't know how the scoring system works, we don't know if it's infinite, we don't know what else it gives. Like maybe it gives power orbs that we can buy, maybe it gives vault keys, maybe it gives us general resources, who knows. But we'll basically find out about that on Friday, and we'll just have to find out then. What teams have you come up with for the new legendary that drops tomorrow? I still have not really figured out any yet. I'm basically starting from using 2 of her plus hero class plus 1 other thing and tweaking from there. And that's basically my game plan for it. As far as particular teams, of course, the Arrow is going to be used a lot. The Trolls are going to be used a lot. Double of her is going to be used a lot. Hero weapon, or hero with hero weapon is going to be used in every single one, particularly with a mana-generating hero weapon with like Mountain Crusher and stuff like that. As far as particular teams, I have not made compositions yet, but yes, that is what we're going to be doing tomorrow in the morning, testing a bunch of those. Yeah, she looks really good. Definitely get 2 or 3 of her. Using 2 of her on a team is going to be particularly potent. And definitely, if you haven't already, preemptively, if you haven't already, fully trait your Titan hero class. It gives half mana to all giants and will be very useful and is highly advised, and probably one of the only ways you'll be able to make her go very viable if you have this. So definitely make sure to get it if you don't already. Red blues can be farmed in Mist of the Scales, and I believe that's it. But yeah, just explore in Mist of the Scales and go get all the red blues, and make sure you get that, or do it sometime next week. But anyways, guys, I'll see you all later. I'll be heading off for tonight, or, well, not for tonight, but until I record the thing in the morning. And yeah, hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll see you all tomorrow for the event video with the new giant. Definitely a great idea to throw event keys once it switches over in like 5 hours from now. Come on, timer, come up. It'll just say probably 5 hours. Why is it not bringing it? There it is. But yeah, make sure it switches over before you throw them. But yeah, once it switches over to next reward, once it switches over to next week, definitely a good time to go throw event keys. And yeah, we'll see you all later. Good night, everyone. And I'll be back in the morning. Goodbye.